Abuelo and the Nieto. We talk Miami sports, Dolphins, Heat, Panthers, Marlins, you name it. The Canes have a very important game, yes, in the playoff. So we're going to be talking about that, the Ohio State game, the Dolphins with a new quarterback, Tyler. So we're ready, right?
We are, and this is episode 68. And as you know, we name every episode after a player who has worn that number in South Florida history. This is a more recent one. So who wore 68 for the Dolphins?
Well, at number 68, Mr. Robert Hunt. Yes, right guard there next to Austin Jackson. That was recently. He was here 3 or 4 years. And then, he left. He left for Carolina. So that is our lost. Definitely at that time, we had some struggles, especially last season regarding the offensive line, Tyler. But what else
Yeah,
do we have? What do we start with?
we start with our beloved sponsor.
Was, yes. Balado Tires, very important. Two locations in Miami to serve you better. If you're looking for tires, Tyler, it is Balado Tires, right?
That's right, and we'll talk about Quinn Ewers getting his now getting his feet wet with the Dolphins, starting to get some playing time with Tua on the bench. He went 20 for 30 in his first start, no touchdowns, two interceptions, but he didn't look bad. And just kind of wondering what you think his future with the team looks like, and how they kind of approach that for the time being.
He did pretty good, Tyler. The 260 yards, like you just mentioned, only 3 days of practice, so you cannot ask for too much. He has been playing with the scout team up to last week. He has a good relationship with Wish Junior, so I expect Wish Junior to get some more opportunities versus Tampa Bay. And this is the team that is in need of a win. Tampa Bay, they're still fighting in their division with Carolina, so I expect them to be ready and give it, their maximum effort. So Miami will have to be ready for that challenge. Yours is pretty accurate, Tyler. He makes all the throws that he needs to make. He doesn't have a tremendous arm, but he has a better arm than Tua, and he can move a little better than Tua. So I'm not convinced about him, Tyler. I don't know if he's the one, and these next two games started are going to be very important that he performs pretty well. Is these last two games of the season, and then if that is the case, I think that he will be in the competition. He won't have anything. We won't have anything decided at this time, but he will be in the competition to be the starter next season. But this game, Tyler, coming up, Tampa Bay, should be a pretty tough game for the Dolphins, right?
I agree. Well, especially Tampa Bay's a team that I view as a legit contender. Obviously with they got a great quarterback. Solid run game as well. Their defense looks decent. So this is a good test for Ewers. I agree with you. I think that you know unless he flips the world upside down, he won't have the spot guaranteed for him next year. But I do think stringing together a few good performances could at least make the Dolphins feel encouraged to let him compete, for the job next year. Maybe they bring in a veteran or something along those lines. But we do have another team to talk about, another local team that is in
Yes,
much,
yes.
much
But
more.
before that, Balado Tires, Tyler. If you're looking for tires, two locations here in Miami: Northwest 27th Avenue and 16th Street, and Southwest 8th Street and 67th Avenue. You have problem with your brakes, Tyler. I don't think you have problems with your brakes. But if you do, they take care of your brakes also. If you're thinking of tires, they have all the top brands. The place is Balado Tires. And you were saying
I'm just gonna ask you about the Miami Hurricanes. They got a big game coming up.
a very big game, Tyler, Ohio State, and we're talking a team that was ranked number one for many weeks until Indiana and Fernando Mendoza took care of them. But this is a very talented team, Tyler. Down the line, offensively, defensively, they have the number one defense in the nation, allowing only 213.5 yards per game. So, you're going to have to play at a very high level offensively to be in the game. And this is a team that has allowed only 129 yards through the air. All right. One of the top teams in the nation. Also, number one, allowing 8 points per game. So, Miami's offense, we're talking Fletcher, we're talking everybody else is going to have to play at a very high level. And Carson Beck, your favorite quarterback, will have to be, at his best. And I believe that that offensive line that did a very good job versus Texas A&M, uh, you know, uh, Fletcher had 172 yards rushing. They will have to run the ball, find a way to run the ball. That defense against the pass is almost unbeatable, even though Mendoza had some success. So offensively, I think they're pretty even. Even though Miami was a little disappointing offensively versus Texas A&M, they picked it up in the second half. But they also have, obviously they have to be a lot better offensively. They scored 13 points, uh, you know, uh, versus Texas A&M, and I don't know. You don't think they're going to score much more than that versus Ohio State? I don't know if you see it any differently.
Well, no, especially because Ohio State not just has a great defense, but a great defensive backfield. They have a safety in Caleb Downs, who is probably the best defensive back in the country, a very cerebral player. So, for a player like Carson Beck that gets baited into making a lot of mistakes, and especially when it seems like as the lights get brighter, the pressure rises, things get a little bit more difficult for him. So, yeah, that'll probably be the biggest challenge he faces in his career, next Saturday. But moving on, another team kind of similar to the Dolphins that's struggling right now in a bit of a rough patch is the Miami Heat. Wanted to know if you think, well, first, kind of what your diagnosis is with what's going on there, what you think the issue seems to be.
Well, Tyler, two wins, 8 losses in the last 10 games. This is a team that started very well, and that played that fast break offense very, very, very quickly, moving the ball side to side, and it was working very well. They were one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league in the Eastern Conference. I mean, highest scoring team in the league, right up there with the Oklahoma Cities and the Nuggets. And then in the last, 9 or 10 games, it's been downhill. And I think it's a combination of things. They're not doing exactly the same thing that they were doing in the first, 14, 15 games. They're not moving as quickly. They're not moving the ball around like they were before, making their cuts to the basket. And also, uh, the shooting has been down quite a bit, Tyler, and also in particular the 3-point shooting. And if you can't score 3 points in the NBA the way it is right now, it's going to be very difficult to win. At the same time, they have not been stopping the threes from other teams defensively. So it's a combination of things. Also, the injuries, they have not had the same starting lineup many times this season, very few times. That is also a point. Now they have Adebayo over the weekend game versus Atlanta. Maybe not 100%. Hero's still out. Not having Hero now for 6 games in a row, and he was injured before that, is also a factor. Some of the other young players, their level of play has gone down also a little bit, with the exception of Jaques Jr., which is playing at a pretty high level, and maybe he has a shot as the sixth man of the year in the NBA. And we're going to be talking about Jaques Jr. Later on in the podcast. But basically, those are the things that are happening. I told you last week, I still believe in the great factor, the great advantage that they have, and that is Spolstra. Usually, he finds the way. So I'm expecting that, Mr. Spolstra, are you listening? That you find the way.
I agree. I think that with a coach like that, his best ability is to adapt. He's able to be honest with himself, what he has, in front of him, and cater his coaching and cater his scheme towards that. So I think this will just be another obstacle that he he manages to handle without too much issue. But moving on, another word from our
Yes. No.
sponsor.
Well, before that, we have to talk about Balado
That's
again.
what I said.
Yes,
That's what I said.
yes. Balado Tires, two locations in Miami to serve you better. They're in Northwest 27th Avenue and 16th Street. So also Southwest 8th Street and 67th Avenue. They have all the major brands, and they have that personal treatment that everybody loves and looks forward to. This is a company that's been established over 63 years. That's a lot of years. That is Balado Tires. And Tyler, what else do we have coming up?
We have fantasy football. We're in the championship. I'm not in the championship, but if you are, good for you.
Mm.
So I got a guy, Michael Carter, running back. He plays for the Arizona Cardinals right now, and their running back is down. They had Bam Knight, go down with an injury, a season-ending injury. Carter is now the starter. He didn't have a great game last week. He was just 65 yards, but at the end of the day, he is their featured back. There's a high chance that he'll at least get in the end zone, get you in that double-digit margin. So if you need a flex play, if your team's starved with injuries, if you made it to the championship, you probably aren't looking for a sleeper. Your team is probably just fine. But if you need somebody, I think running back Michael Carter would be the way to go.
Tyler, the Marlins, they made an acquisition this week, and that is always important when you actually get a player and get an important player, because that's not the case, in the recent history of the Marlins. They got a free agent reliever, Peter Fairbanks, 32 years old, $13 million for 1 year. So, they're spending the money. 27 saves for the Tampa Bay Rays, 2.83 ERA. So they have a pretty strong bullpen, even though they lost Enriquez recently. They had a pretty good season for them year. Last year, they still have some needs. A first baseman that can hit, and also maybe a right-handed hitting outfielder might be two positions where they need some help. But it's very positive that they're spending some money, and maybe that is the case starting this season. And what I always say, even more important than that, is the fact that your young players that are doing well, you have to keep them. You have to keep them, try to sign a contract which is 4 or 5 years, something similar to what they did with Sandy Alcantara. And some teams, teams that are not the Yankees, they're not the Dodgers, they don't have all that money. That is what they do, and that's what the Marlins should be doing. And if they do that, I think that they will be in a good position. So, Tyler, we like to recognize here Hispanic athletes. And also, in this case, we're recognizing a Hispanic athlete, outstanding Hispanic athlete, and also an outstanding young Miami athlete. And this is Jaime Jaques Jr. Yes, the Mexican American, very talented forward for the Miami Heat, native of Irvine, California. He's the third generation in his family to play basketball. His parents, Angela and Jaime Sr., both played at Concordia in Irving, and also his grandfather played in California after coming from Mexico. Jaques Jr. is proud of his heritage and was a star definitely at UCLA. He was a second team All American and Pacific 12 Player of the Year in 2023, and was the number 8 pick in the first round that same year for the Heat. In his first season, he averaged 12 points per game and 4 rebounds. Currently in the 25-26 season, uh, averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. He's a candidate definitely for Six Man of the Year, having an outstanding season for the Heat. Outstanding Miami Hispanic athlete, Jaime Jaques Jr. And before we forget, Balao Tires, yes, they're here with us, two locations in Miami to serve you better. If you're looking for tires, the place to go is Balado tires. But what do we have, Tyler, now? This is, I think, definitely one of our favorite segments, right?
Yes, this is definitely one of our favorite segments. So I'll kick it off today. You started last time. Who has the most assists in a single season? Miami Heat history.
Who has the most assists in a season for the Heat?
Yeah.
Uh, uh, could it be Dwayne Wade?
No, it is Tim Hardaway with 695,
Wa-
8.6 assists a game.
Wow. Tim Hardaway played
Tim
together with
Hardaway,
Alonso Mourning, and
yes.
one of the top point guards in the league at that time, and definitely one of the best players in the history of the Miami Heat. Well, Tyler, we did something last week which was a little different, which is ask our followers a question, and a lot of them answer it correctly. And this is the question that we asked: Who has scored the most points in a game in the history of the Heat? Oh no, that was for LeBron James. No, the question was the following: Who was the Marlin player to lead the team in RBIs and runs scored in a season? It was Giancarlo Stanton in 2017, 132 RBIs and 123 runs scored. But I want to know this time around, Tyler, who is the Marlins player to win two World Series titles? And that is an easy one, Tyler.
Jeff Conine.
Jeff Conine, yes, Mr. Marlin, Jeff Conine. He started everything in 2003 with the Marlins. He was, one of the original players, and original one of the original manager also the team. Tyler, also a very colorful manager, came from the Athletics. Rene Lashman, just to give you a little history about the Marlins. We have done it again, Tyler, right? Yes.
That's
Number
right.
68, Abuelo and Nieto. Follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. We're everywhere. We talk Miami sports. Arrivederci. Hasta luego.